Scaree! Good day. The Yeti, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, big cats at large in the Pommy countryside, all mysteries that intrigue us all. And now perhaps the biggest, most terrifying mystery of all. Is there a giant killer duck out here somewhere, swallowing its victims whole?
Today I've come up to the top of Culver Cliff at the eastern end of the Isle of Wight, off the south coast of England, to see if I can find the answer.
Yesterday evening, at approximately 10:45 p.m, Oswald Smith was sitting where he is now in his living room with his dad Dave on the sofa when they saw and heard an enormous beak tapping at that window on the left. Dave immediately rose from his sofa, opened up those patio doors there and went outside to investigate. Oswald was in the middle of watching his favourite program, News at 10 at 10:30, and therefore refused to join his dad. When it was over, and he also went outside to investigate, it was too late. Both the giant killer duck and his dad had disappeared without trace. I am here with Oswald now. What happened exactly?
Well, it was yesterday evening at approximately 10:45 p.m. I was sitting in our living room, where I am now, with Daddy on the sofa, when we saw and heard an enormous beak tapping at that window there on the left. Daddy immediately rose from his sofa and went outside to investigate. I was in the middle of watching my favourite programme, News at 10 at 10:30, and therefore refused to join him. When it was over and I also went outside to investigate, it was too late. Both Daddy and the giant killer duck had disappeared without trace.
Can you tell us anything else?
That sort of thing is always happening up here.
Really?
Oh yes, Daddy often opens up the patio doors and goes outside.
He doesn't usually disappear though.
Not without trace, no. In the past, we've always managed to track him down. This would be the first time he's been swallowed whole by a giant killer duck.
So there you have it. What more proof could be required as to the existence of a giant killer duck? Nevertheless, my editor has asked me to broaden my investigations. So here I am at the home of wildlife photographer Jock Johnston, who is going to show me some of his photos. Mr. Johnston.
Jock, call me Jock.
Jock, I hear you have photos of the giant killer duck.
Ducks?
No, Brucey, call me Brucey.
No, ducks, plural. Giant killer ducks.
Sorry, I thought there was only one of them.
Oh no, there are thousands of them, goodness gracious, and they've been around for thousands of years. I can understand though how you could be so mistaken. They're very secretive and usually spend most of their lives far out to sea, wreaking terrible havoc.
What kind of havoc?
You've heard of the Marie Celeste and the Bermuda Triangle, all doomed to giant killer ducks.
Really? Gosh, let's see some of your photos then.
First the money, if you don't mind.
Money? I'm not authorised to give you any money.
No money, no photos.
Oh dear. Would you mind describing what's in the photos? Looking straight into the camera lens for maximum dramatic effect.
Well, the best is a rather distant one of a very small policeman disguised as a child, ridiculously offering bread to a giant killer duck in a forlorn hope of placating it. If only they hadn't abolished the minimum height requirements for coppers, he might have had legs long enough to outrun it. But it was hopeless. The killer duck caught him up and gulped him down in less than 5 seconds. Unfortunately, my shutter jammed, and I was unable to photograph the actual swallowing.
Shame. That would have been nice.
Very nice. I could have made a fortune with a worldwide exclusive. I suppose you don't by any chance have any recordings of the call of the giant killer duck? I'm a photographer, but I could do a pretty fair impression of one though. Could you? That would be tremendous. I'll need to prepare myself. I have to do some relaxation and breathing exercises and get into character. Quack! Scaree! Thank you so much, Jock Johnston. By the by, was it a crocodile that bit that chunk out of the front of your hat? No, I bit it out. It's my emergency tucker. What a terrific bloke and a terrifying account of a giant killer duck. My editor has now sent me to London to try and get an interview on camera with the Prime Minister about what he intends to do about this giant killer duck situation. Here he comes now. Prime Minister, what do you intend to do about this giant killer duck situation? What a great scoop! Flares are back in fashion. It's the following day now, but I finally managed to persuade one of the Prime Minister's spokespersons to say a few words. Over to you, Prime Minister's spokespersons. There's nothing to be done about the situation. There's simply not enough elections held to postpone one every time there's a crisis. Continuing my investigations, I've returned to the top of Culver Cliff, where I've discovered what could be a giant killer duck's footprint. I move cautiously in the direction it is pointing to see if I can track it down. Behind me now is another giant killer duck's footprint. I must be getting nearer. I've decided to crawl on my stomach through the grass, as I'm less likely to be spotted by the giant killer duck, especially as I'm wearing grass-coloured clothes. Pieces of grass just sprang back in front of my face, a sure indication that I'm not far behind. Golly gosh, here it is. Large and awe-inspiring. My first sighting of a giant killer duck. I just hope it won't be my last. It's stopping. It's turning. It's spotted me. It's coming towards me. Now where's it gone? It must have made itself invisible. What should I do? Run or report? I'm a reporter. I must stand my ground. Oh no, crikey. I can feel its presence all around me. This is Brucey Burrows reporting on the giant killer duck situation, signing. Oh, this is Brucey Burrows signing on again. In sound only, I'm afraid. Gosh, it's dark in here. You here as well, Dave? Oswald's dead, Dave. Are you in here anywhere? Perhaps not. Obviously, we're wrong about giant killer ducks. Giant, yes. Ducks, yes. Killer, no. I'm still alive, and I've still got my emergency tucker on my head. Tasty. Very tasty. So not giant killer ducks, but giant swallower ducks instead. But wait a minute. I can feel myself being drawn into what must be a narrow digestive tract. Into dinner, maybe. It's my ability to breathe. I can't breathe. Giant killer ducks was right. This is Brucey Burrows signing off. Again.
This film is dedicated to the memory of ace reporter Brucey Burrows, whose intact camera and half-eaten hat were discovered in duck droppings and was edited by his friend Edward Lyon.